Warning, asphaltic materials and tools are hot. Serious injury may occur if caution is not exercised when handling the equipment and materials. Personal protective equipment must be used at all times.
Okay, this is Arizona 427, which is the ignition furnace asphalt content procedure. The amount of material we need is from the table in the procedure. That's based on the maximum nominal size of the aggregate. We get that sample. We have our basket that we're going to put it in. It has to be weighed to the nearest 0.1 gram. Record that empty weight. Now we need to load the basket. There's 2 baskets, so we'll put half on each basket. When you put it on there, you have to spread it out over the bottom of the basket. Level it off, and then pull the material in approximately 1 inch from the edges of the basket, all the way around. Do the same with the second basket. Top on the baskets and the handle here. We call it the handle, but make sure you do not lift it by the handle. Okay, so now I need to weigh the basket assembly again with the material in it. Weigh that to the nearest 0.1 gram. I can subtract out the tare weight of the basket, the empty weight, and that will give me the weight of my sample. This goes into the furnace. We have our sample that we're going to burn, put into the furnace. Before I do that, I need to put in my calibration factor. Over here there's a button called calibration factor. Hit that, put in the calibration factor, and hit enter. I want to say the calibration factor is 0.25. So hit calibration, 25, enter. To check it, hit the calibration button again. It should show up on your screen down here, 0.25. I also need to put in the weight. That's the weight of the sample that I got after I subtracted the total weight of the basket filled with the material from the empty weight. It was 25, it was 2213. Hit weight, put in 2213, enter. To check it, again hit the weight, it should come up 2213. Now I'm ready to go. I'm going to load it. Make sure you wear your safety equipment. When you work around this furnace, make sure you stay away from the door. So it's a good idea to always have this port that you're using to load it in between you and the door. Put it in here so that it's right in the center, it's not hitting the sides or the edges. Close it off and hit the start button. It'll start burning. You're going to let it burn until you have 3 consecutive minutes of mass loss of not less than 0.01%. That's when it's done. These machines, when it's done, it'll beep. Okay, it's completed. Again, make sure you wear your safety equipment. Make sure you cover it. And you're going to let it set for 30 minutes plus or minus 5 minutes. Okay, so now after the burn, we let it set and cool for 30 plus or minus 5 minutes. We bring it back over here, get our weight again to the nearest 0.1 gram, subtract out the tare weight of our basket. That gives us the weight of our sample after the burn. Now we need to get the material off the baskets. You have to get the material in the bottom pan. This is the material that was left over after the burn. We removed it from our baskets. The total amount of weight that we're going to start out with is determined by subtracting the weight of the material and the baskets from the empty weight of the baskets. This is for after the burn. That weight is our total weight. This has to be placed into our nest of sieves. The bottom sieve is a number 8 sieve, and then we have a bottom pan that catches minus number 8 material. The bottom one has to be a number 8 sieve. Marianne. Okay, we're going to shake it until thoroughness of sieving is achieved, which is when no more than 0.5% of the total sample weight passes any sieve after 1 minute of hand sieving. When it's completed, take your sieves out. You need to weigh each individual sieve, the material in each individual sieve. So our top sieve, get all the material off of it, weigh that to the nearest 1 gram, 0 gram. As you're getting your weights for each sieve, check that weight against the overloaded weight, which is in the table in the procedure. Again, weigh to the nearest 1 gram. Check for the overloading weight. Weigh to the nearest 1 gram. Check for overloading. Continue on as before. 0.1 gram, or nearest whole gram. Check for overloading. As you tap on the side of these screens, there's a ridge here. Make sure you tap on that ridge, otherwise you can end up the screen where they won't fit together any longer. Weigh to nearest 1 gram. Check for overloading. Weigh to the nearest gram. Check for overloading. Now our bottom pan, this is the -8 material. Again, we are going to weigh it to the nearest 1 gram. In this case, it's 657.2 grams. That's going to round to 657 grams. Procedure says that if you have less than 800 grams, you run the entire amount of -8 material. If you have over 800 grams of material, then you reduce that that amount down to not less than 500 grams, and then use that for your fine sieve analysis. So since this one has less than 800, we have to use the entire amount. So I would record that as 657 and go do my washing of this material and then the fine sieving. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate the splitting. If you had more than 800 grams, you would have to split it. So I have a sample here that is more than 800 grams. So make sure the pans are underneath the chutes. We have to use this induction device in order to introduce the sample into the splitter. This part of it in there. Level it off. Pour it through the center part of the splitter. Keep doing that until you split the entire amount. What I'm looking for is a minimum of 500 grams of material. $516.3, which rounds to 516. This is what I would use for my fine sieve analysis. Okay, so now we have our sample. We're going to take it over to our sink and do our washing. So now we have our sample. We need to wash it. I'm going to demonstrate the hand washing method. But you could also use the mechanical washing, which is just a lubrication tube, if you have it. The hand washing is usually the referee method. Put your material into a pan big enough to hold the sample and water. Add some water to it to cover it. You're going to agitate it and then pour it over your nest of sieves. Our sieves is a number 16 on top and a number 200 on the bottom. Agitate the material. You want to get those fines into suspension. And then pour it over your sieves. You want to get as little of material on your sieves as possible. Just pour the decant the water over the sieves. Add water again to cover it. Continue agitating and decanting over your sieves. Until your wash water runs clear. And of course, you don't want to lose any material as you're doing this. The water looks clear, so it's been thoroughly washed. Make sure I don't have material clinging to my spoon. Now I need to wash any material that's on my sieves back into my sample. All that material off there. Same thing for the minus 200 material, or the number 200 sieve. Wash that back into your sample. Get everything off. Now we have to let this set and let those fines settle. Once they settle, we can squeegee out the excess water, making sure you don't get any fine material. Once you get as much out as you can, you're going to put this in the oven. For Arizona, you put it in at any temperature that does not cause a loss of material due to splattering. Dry it to a constant weight. Once it's dried to a constant weight, let it cool. Again, weigh it to the nearest 1 gram, and then you do your fine sieve analysis. The fine sieve analysis is the same as the coarse, just use the fine sieves to do it. And when you're through, you add up your individual weights, just like I did on the course. You add up your individual weights. You compare that to your beginning weight. Has to be within 1.0%. If it isn't, then you would recombine, re-sieve your sample, and carefully reweigh. If it's within 1%, then you adjust the sieve that has the most weight retained on it. For the coarse sieves, you cannot adjust the minus number 8 material. For the fine sieves, you cannot adjust the minus 200s material.
Please be sure to review all of the materials available in your Asphalt Technician Certification Workbook.